Welcome back to Jamyy English. I'm Jays.
And I'm Amy, episode 14, and today we go digital.
Texting, messaging, email, social media, the English of screens and keyboards.
Which is actually where most people use English now. More than speaking, more than phone calls, we type more English than we speak it.
And yet, digital English has its own rules, its own shortcuts, its own tone. And if you don't know those rules, messages can feel cold or confusing, even when your grammar is perfect.
Or you send a very formal email to a friend and they think you're angry with them.
Haha, yes. Tone in writing is everything, because the reader can't hear your voice. They can't see your face. The words have to carry the full meaning.
So today, we break it all down. Abbreviations, texting tone, professional email structure, and the mistakes that make messages feel wrong even when they're technically correct.
Let's start with the abbreviations, because everyone uses them and nobody teaches them. The most common English texting abbreviations. We'll go through them quickly. Say the abbreviation, then what it means, then how it's actually used.
LOL, laughing out loud. Originally meant you were actually laughing, now used much more loosely, as a softener, a way to make something feel light. I forgot my keys again, LOL. You're not necessarily laughing, you're softening the statement.
OMG, oh my God. Used for surprise, excitement, or disbelief. OMG, you won't believe what just happened. It can also be written OMG, lowercase, which feels slightly more casual.
BRB, be right back, means I'm stepping away from the conversation for a moment. BRB, someone's at the door, then you come back and continue.
AFK, away from keyboard. Similar to BRB, but used more in gaming and online contexts. Going AFK for dinner.
BTW, by the way, adding information that's related but not the main point. The meeting is at 3. BTW, there's parking behind the building. The BTW signals I'm adding something secondary but useful.
FYI, for your information. Sharing something relevant. FYI, the office will be closed on Monday. No response necessarily required, just flagging something.
ASAP, as soon as possible. Urgency. Could you send the file ASAP? In professional contexts, ASAP can feel slightly aggressive, depending on the rest of the message. Use with care.
NVM. Never mind. Canceling or withdrawing what you just said. Have you seen my keys? NVM, found them. Also used when you've decided not to pursue something. Actually, NVM, I'll figure it out.
TBH, to be honest. Adding candor, usually softening a potentially critical comment. TBH, the presentation could use a bit more polish. It signals I'm going to say something genuine here.
IMO or IMHMO. In my opinion, in my humble opinion. IMO, the second design is stronger. Softens a judgment, framing it as personal view rather than fact.
IDK, I don't know. What time is dinner? IDK, check with Jays. Simple.
ETA, estimated time of arrival. Originally aviation and logistics, now used casually. What's your ETA? Means when are you getting here? My ETA is 6-ish. Ish means approximately, roughly. 6-ish means around 6, not exactly.
TBT, Throwback Thursday. You'll see this on social media, posting an old photo on Thursdays. TBT to that trip to Tokyo. Now also used as just throwback without the Thursday element.
HMU, hit me up. Contact me, reach out to me. If you want tickets, HMU. Casual and friendly.
TLDR, or TL::DR. Too long, didn't read. A summary of something long. Often written at the start or end of a long message. TLDR, the meeting went well and we got the contract. It's become a useful format. Write the long explanation, then add TLDR, followed by a one-sentence summary.
Now, emojis. Because emojis in English digital communication have their own meaning and their own cultural context.
The thumbs up. In Chinese digital culture, a thumbs up usually means agreement or approval. In Western texting, it often means okay or acknowledged, but among younger users, it can feel passive-aggressive or dismissive. Great idea, thumbs up, from a friend feels warm. Okay, thumbs up, from a colleague can feel cold or sarcastic.
Context matters enormously with emojis. The smiley, this is increasingly read as ironic or passive-aggressive in English digital culture. A shenyu with rosy cheeks is warmer. A ja or duh is genuinely happy. These are small distinctions, but they land differently.
The skull emoji. You might think this means something dark. It doesn't. It means I'm dead from laughing. This is so funny, skull. Means I find this extremely funny. Very common among young English speakers.
The cap means lie, not literally a cap. No cap means no lie. I'm being serious. That was the best meal I've ever had, no cap.
These things shift quickly. Emoji and slang meanings evolve. If you see something you don't recognize, it's completely fine to ask, "Wait, what does that emoji mean?" Nobody will judge you for asking.
And in professional contexts, use emojis sparingly, if at all. A shenyu at the end of a warm email is fine. A skull in a business email is not.
Let's talk about texting tone, because the same content can feel completely different depending on how it's written.
Punctuation affects tone dramatically in text messages. A full stop at the end of a short text can feel cold or even angry. Sure versus sure with an emoji. Completely different feelings.
Sure could feel passive-aggressive, unenthusiastic. Sure, warm, willing, happy to help. Sure sounds good. Even warmer, enthusiastic agreement.
This is a real shift in how English is used digitally. Full stops at the end of texts have become associated with formality or coldness, not grammatical correctness. See you at 7 feels harder than see you at 7 or see you at 7. Smiley face.
The ellipsis, 3 dots. Sure means something is slightly wrong. You're hesitant, or you're leaving something unsaid. I'll think about it means I probably won't. The ellipsis creates ambiguity and mild tension.
Multiple exclamation marks. Enthusiasm. Can't wait to see you. Very warm. Very excited. In professional emails, 1 exclamation mark maximum. In casual texts, use as many as the energy demands.
Capitalizing entire words for emphasis. That was so good. The capitalized so means very strongly emphasized. I am not doing that. Strong emphasis and finality. In casual texts, capitalization is a tone tool.
And the message that says only K, this is almost universally read as cold or dismissive. K means okay, but with minimal effort. If you want to seem agreeable, use okay or sure or even just sounds good. K should be avoided in most contexts. Now, professional emails. Because there's a specific structure that English language professional email follows, and deviating from it can make you seem either too casual or unnecessarily formal.
The structure is greeting, body, closing. Simple, but the details matter.
Greeting. If you know the person's name, Dear Sarah, most formal. Hi Sarah, standard professional. Hello Sarah, slightly warmer than dear, slightly more formal than hi. Hey Sarah, casual, fine for colleagues you know well, not appropriate for first contact or formal correspondence.
If you don't know who you're writing to, Dear Sir or Madam, very formal, slightly old-fashioned. To whom it may concern, formal, used for complaints or reference letters. Hi there, casual but acceptable for general inquiries.
The opening line. After the greeting, the first line sets the tone and purpose. Good opening lines. I hope this email finds you well. Standard, professional, warm. I'm writing to follow up on our conversation last Tuesday. Clear and direct. Thank you for getting back to me so quickly. Warm acknowledgement.
Lines to avoid. Per my last email. This is passive-aggressive in English email culture. It implies the person should have read the last email. Even if that's true, this phrasing causes friction. As I mentioned before, similar issue. Better, just to recap from my previous email.
The body. Keep it clear and structured. Use short paragraphs. 1 idea per paragraph. If you have multiple points, number them or use a brief list. Long, dense paragraphs in emails are often skimmed or missed.
The action request. What you actually want the person to do. Be specific. Could you send the revised file by Thursday? Is better than, please let me know about the file. The first is clear and time-bound. The second is vague.
I'd appreciate your thoughts on this by end of week. Polite deadline. Could you confirm receipt of this email? Asking for acknowledgement. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Warm closing offer.
The closing. Sign-off options from formal to casual. Yours sincerely, most formal. Used when you've addressed the person by name. Yours faithfully. Used in the UK when writing to someone you don't know by name. Kind regards, standard professional. Best regards, or just best, common and warm. Thanks or many thanks, warm and appropriate when you've made a request. Cheers, British casual, fine for colleagues.
Then, your name. In a first email, include your full name and title or role below. Jace Carter, English language educator, Jamyy English. After you've established correspondence, just your first name is fine.
Reply all. When there are multiple people copied on an email, reply all sends to everyone. Reply sends only to the sender. Before clicking Reply All, ask yourself, does everyone in this thread need my response? Often the answer is no.
CC and BCC. CC means carbon copy. You're sending this email to someone as a secondary recipient for their information. I've CC'd Amy on this so she's in the loop. BCC means blind carbon copy. The recipient gets the email but other recipients can't see their address, often used for newsletters or privacy. Amy, I want to go deeper on professional email tone because this is where I see the most mistakes from non-native speakers. Not grammar mistakes, but tone mistakes.
Yes, and tone mistakes can actually damage relationships more than grammar mistakes, because bad grammar is usually understood and forgiven. Tone that feels wrong creates a feeling that's hard to explain but very real.
The most common tone mistake? Being too formal in a way that creates distance. Long, elaborate sentences. I would like to humbly request that you kindly consider reviewing the attached document at your earliest convenience. Grammatically fine, but painfully stiff.
And the opposite, being too casual in a professional context. Hey, so the thing is, we need the report pretty soon, yeah? Too informal for anything beyond very close colleagues.
The sweet spot is what I call warm professionalism. Clear, direct, but human. Hi, Sarah. Hope you're having a good week. Could you review the attached report when you get a chance? No rush. End of week would be great. Thanks so much. Friendly, clear, respectful of her time.
Notice when you get a chance and no rush, these phrases soften a request significantly. They make it feel like a human interaction rather than a command.
I'd really appreciate it. More personal than thank you in advance. It would be really helpful, explains why you're asking, builds connection. Let me know if you have any questions. Open door, welcoming.
One phrase I use a lot in client emails, just wanted to check in on. Checking in means following up, seeing how something is progressing. Just wanted to check in on the project timeline. Is everything on track? It's softer than, what is the status of the project?
On track means progressing as planned. Are we still on track for the Friday deadline? Common and natural.
Subject lines. The subject line is the first thing a recipient reads, and it determines whether they open the email immediately, read it later, or miss it entirely.
Good subject lines are specific and actionable. Quick question about Thursday's meeting. Clear, low pressure. Design feedback needed by Wednesday. Clear, with deadline. Following up on our call. Context immediately clear.
Bad subject lines. Hi, tells nothing. Important, everything seems important. Question, too vague. Following up without context. Which follow-up?
For urgent emails, urgent. Contract approval needed today. The capital urgent signals priority. Use this sparingly. If everything is urgent, nothing is.
And a good rule, if your email requires action, say what action in the subject line. Action required. Please review and sign by Friday. The recipient knows immediately what they need to do.
Reading an inbox is exhausting. A clear subject line is a gift to the reader. It's a small act of professional consideration that people notice and appreciate.
One final thing, response time expectations. In English professional culture, replying to emails within one working day is generally expected. If you can't respond properly, just a quick note to say I've received this and will come back to you by Thursday. Acknowledging receipt buys you time and reassures the sender.
Receipt. Confirmation of receiving something. Acknowledging receipt means confirming you got it. Very professional phrase.
And I'll come back to you. I will respond properly later. Come back to someone means follow up with them. I'll come back to you by end of week with a full response.
These small phrases, just checking in, when you get a chance, on track, come back to you, are the lubricant of professional English communication. Learn them and use them freely.
Let's do a quick role play in message form. I'll be texting Jays before a meeting.
Okay, I'll play myself.
Hey, quick question. Is the meeting still on for 3? Got stuck in traffic.
Still on. Take your time. We haven't started yet. ETA?
Maybe 10 mins tops. So sorry.
No worries. See you soon.
On my way now. Thanks for waiting.
Okay, let's unpack this short exchange. Still on. Is the meeting still happening as planned? Take your time. Don't rush. It's okay. ETA? We covered this. Estimated time of arrival. Maybe 10 mins tops. At the most 10 minutes. Tops means maximum. So sorry. The exclamation mark makes the apology feel genuine, not formulaic.
No worries. British Australian expression for it's fine, don't stress. Extremely common. Very warm. See you soon, with the emoji. Closes the text thread warmly. On my way now. Just began traveling, currently in transit. Thanks for waiting. The prayer hands emoji is widely used for gratitude. Very natural here.
A lot of meaning packed into a very short exchange. That's the efficiency of good digital English.
One more area, WhatsApp voice messages, because this sits between texting and calling and it has its own etiquette.
Voice messages, recording yourself speaking and sending the audio rather than typing. Very common on WhatsApp, increasingly used in business too.
The advantage, you can convey tone, warmth, nuance that's hard to achieve in text. The disadvantage, the recipient has to listen to it, which takes more time and attention than reading.
Golden rules for voice messages. Keep them under 90 seconds. Get to the point within the first 10 seconds. Don't send 10 separate voice messages in a row. Consolidate into one. And give a text summary after a long voice message. Voice message above, basically meeting moved to Tuesday.
Starting a voice message. Hey, quick voice message. Just wanted to say, or hi, it's Amy. Hope you're well. So the thing I wanted to discuss, identify yourself by name in a voice message, especially in professional contexts. The recipient might not immediately recognize your voice.
Replying to a voice message with text is completely acceptable. You don't have to respond in kind. Got your message. Sounds great. Let's do Tuesday.
And the ultimate modern question, voice message or call? Voice message if your thought is complete and doesn't need a live response. Call if it's a discussion that will go back and forth. Text if it's a quick fact or arrangement. Matching your communication tool to the situation is a real skill.
Lightning round. Digital English.
Ready.
What does LOL actually mean when used in a text like, forgot my umbrella again, LOL?
It's a softener, lightening the statement, not necessarily actually laughing.
Professional email sign-off for first contact.
Kind regards, or best regards, followed by full name and title.
Someone texts you K. How does it typically come across?
Cold or dismissive. Better to use okay or sounds good.
Your ETA when you're about 12 minutes away.
Maybe 10 to 15 minutes tops. On my way now.
You want to add secondary information in a text.
BTW, by the way, for something related but not the main point.
End of a warm professional email.
Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Best, Amy.
Every one of those is spot on.
Homework. This week, write one email in English. It can be real or practice. Use the structure we talked about. Greeting, opening line, clear body, closing.
And look back at your last 10 English text messages if you have any. Notice the tone. Notice the abbreviations. Notice whether your punctuation matches the warmth you intended.
And in the comments, tell us your most used emoji when texting in English. And if you know what it means culturally or just use it intuitively, share that too.
We want to see your emojis. Tomorrow, episode 15.
And we are switching topics completely. After 2 weeks of practical survival English, we go somewhere more personal.
Emotions, feelings, how to express how you feel in English beyond I'm fine and I'm tired.
Because I'm fine is one of the most loaded phrases in the English language and almost never means what it says.
We'll explain. Tomorrow. Let's learn, speak, and grow together. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.